Hello, boys and girls. It's now time for story time with Grandma Pat. All right, today our story is going to be Better Than You by Trudy Ludwig. And the illustrations of our Adam Gustafson. Better Than You. This is a new book that I read not too long ago, and I think you'll like it. Here's this little boy. He's sitting there and he's playing his guitar. My neighbor Jake can be a real jerk, always letting me know that whatever I do, he can do it better. Don't get me wrong, Jake is great at practically everything he does, especially sports. Me, not so much. I know I'm good at writing stories and playing the guitar, but when it comes to basketball, I have to practice a lot just to be a decent player. The jerk side of Jake first started to bug me when I was trying to learn how to do a layup. For weeks, I'd been working at leaping and aiming and shooting like an NBA star. I even got my older brother Iggy to help me. I was so excited when I could finally do it that I went over to Jake's house to show him. "Hi, Tyler, what's up?" said Jake. "Check this out. I can do a layup." After I showed him the move, he grabbed the basketball and said, "Yeah, well, I bet you can't do this." Then Jake did a perfect hook shot. He couldn't just say, "Cool, Tyler," or "Great job, you nailed it." Nope, he had to outdo me. Why am I kidding myself? I thought. I'll never be great at basketball. Why even bother trying? Sometimes we feel that way when we have friends that aren't really friends. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm happy for you. That's good. I'm glad you learned how to do that." But instead, they want to outdo us in everything that they do. Last Thursday morning, I was in the middle of showing Cherise my new music player when Jake came over. "What's that?" he asked. "It's a sound lunch," replied Cherise. "Tyler just bought it." "You're kidding, a sound lunch." "You should have gotten a Tonnage 300, said Jake. Then he went on and on about all the great things his music player could do that mine couldn't. I just stood there, thinking of all the places I'd rather be than right there with Jake. Again, if your friend does something or gets something nice, don't be jealous of him. Just say, "Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you."
Yeah.
Today we had a math test. I hate math. It's my hardest subject. My hands get all sweaty and my brain turns to mush whenever I try to solve the problems. Do you want to know what was worse than that? Taking the math test, having the teacher tell you that the kid next to you would be the one grading your paper. And since I sat next to Jake, he got to check my answers. "Gee, Tyler, I can't believe you've got so many of these problems wrong," he said. "This test was so easy. I must be 5 times smarter than you in math." There should be a law that says kids can't grade other kids' tests. Stupid tests, stupid me. That makes us feel bad when somebody's always telling us how much better they are than we are. When I came home from school, I threw down my backpack, headed to my bedroom, and slammed the door. "Hey, Tyler," called Iggy from downstairs. "Uncle Kevin's here." When I didn't go say hi to Uncle Kevin, he came upstairs. "Why are you holed up in your room?" he said. I didn't say anything and just kept tossing my ball in the air. "You know, Tyler, one of my favorite ways to get rid of the blues is by playing it." And so that's what they did. Tyler and his uncle went outside and sat on the front porch, and they started strumming away. Uncle Kevin was right. Playing the guitar did help me feel better, but it still didn't solve my problem with Jake. After a while, Uncle Kevin asked, "Did you have a tough day at school?" "More like a tough month," I grumbled. "My friend Jake's been getting on my nerves a lot lately. I know he's better than me at a bunch of stuff, but he doesn't have to rub it in my face all the time. I feel like such a loser when I'm around him." Uncle Kevin nodded as he strummed some more on his guitar. "Is Jake like that around other students also, or other friends?" I thought about it for a minute, and I remembered hearing Carlos tell Oscar at baseball practice that he was sick of Jake's bragging. "He thinks he's better than us," says Carlos. "Yeah, what a show off," said Oscar. So it wasn't only me that Jake treated this way. The other guys were getting fed up with him too. Maybe it wasn't my fault after all. Maybe it had more to do with him than me. All right, let's see what happens. I shared this with Uncle Kevin, and he told me that people like Jake are a lot like the puffer fish we saw at the aquarium last summer. They puff up their bodies and make themselves bigger than they actually are. It's a way of protecting themselves from potential enemies, he explained. But when a kid acts like that, like a puffer fish, he takes up so much space that he can also push away his friends. And that sounds like what Jake has been doing. Uncle Kevin suddenly stood up and shouted, "Make way for the pufferfish man," as he chased me around the porch. Mom almost had a heart attack when she came face to face with the pufferfish man. I laughed so hard my sides were hurting. After Uncle Kevin left, I biked to the schoolyard. And when I got there, Jake and Nico, this new kid on my street, they were on the field tossing a frisbee. "Hey," I said, nodding in their direction. "Can I play too?" "Sure," they both said. When it was Nico's turn, he did this amazing throw. Our eyes nearly popped out of our heads. "Wow, that was awesome," I told Nico. "Thanks. I could teach you how to do it too." "Really?" "Sure. Only if you show me how to throw the disc." "You bet." Then Nico turned to Jake. "I can show you too if you'd like." "Yeah, well, I know all the cool frisbee throws, so I don't need to know any more," as Jake started walking off the field. See, he's never happy when his friends are happy. He wants to make them feel bad and puff himself up. I ran up to him and said, "Come on, Jake, don't go." "So what if Nico throws better than us? He's cool. Let's just toss the frisbee around. It'll be fun." "Nah, I'm out of here. You coming?" I looked at Jake and then at Nico. "No thanks. I'm going to stay here with Nico." "Whatever," muttered Jake as he turned and headed home by himself. Jake can never be happy when someone else is doing something that he thinks is better than him. Nico and I took turns teaching each other different throws and even talking about all the kinds of different stuff. I found out that Nico just got a guitar for his birthday, so I offered to teach him to play. He thought that was a great idea. You know what? I have a feeling that Nico and I are going to be really great friends. Look at that. When you have a good friend, you can teach each other to do things. You don't have to have one that's trying to be the one that tells you everything. All right, that story was called Better Than You. So if someone is always acting like they're better than you, that's not a problem that you're having. That's a problem they're having that they need to work on. Because there's always someone that can do something better. But it's nice if they don't throw it up in your face. You know, you can say, well, I can teach you this and you can teach me that. And that way you can be good friends instead of one always trying to outdo the other one. All right? Okay, thank you, boys and girls.